Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Four Lads Rangers midweek podcast live. With myself, I am your host, Stephen Clifford, and I'm joined tonight by Kenneth Stewart. Kenneth, good evening. How are you?
I'm not bad, Stephen. Had a right busy day to myself today. I had a day off and I've been up at the tip. I've been fixing washing machines. I went up to the West End where I got 100 yards from where I wanted to be to find out the road was closed, and it took me half an hour to go around pretty much the entire West End to get to the other end of that 100 metres that I needed to get to. Had a nice curry and had a good laugh with a couple of things, and I'm here, and that's about all I've got to say. So this is going to be a struggle because we've got very, very little to say.
Well, that ramble just wasted about 3.5 hours, so it's all good. For those of you who are new to this podcasting world, this is a podcast about Rangers Football Club. Four Lads Had a Dream is named after the four lads who subsequently founded Rangers. There isn't four lads on this podcast very irregularly, I would say. So if you're coming into the comments to say, I've never seen four lads on this, it's because it's not because of that. This dream was really Kenny's when Kenny bombarded me with several messages saying we should start a podcast. And start we did. And it's been a roller coaster. And when we look at Kenny's agenda for this evening, point one is questions from the viewers, as we have fuck all to talk about. So this is the kind of podcast you're tuning into. But good evening, everyone. Kenny, Rabbi Matondo has left, officially announced by Rangers at 5 o'clock yesterday evening. We had a lot to say about it on Monday. He has officially gone. Rangers don't have a fee for him, but we will get any future bonuses should he play any amount of games, which I think Brand will be pretty safe for. But he has gone as somebody that really should have done better at Rangers and never did.
Yeah, listen, good luck to the kid. I wish him all the best. That's all you could say about him. 3.5 years or whatever it's been of very little. So a massive earner off the wage bill, Stevie. That's the way I look at that. Saved herself probably 300,000-400,000 quid. And look, as I say, I don't want to sit there and stick a boot into the kid because he's away now, but I think most people's feelings are well known about Rabbi Matondo. And as I said on Monday, I very much doubt we'll see any sell-on fee because I am pretty certain the lad will see out the majority of his contract and leave from there. I don't really know what else to say about it. Good luck to him. But delighted to get him off the wage bill, Stevie. He's one of the biggest earners at the football club. So, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, look, it didn't work out, did it? Getting rid of him, as Kenny says, is probably saved Rangers in the region of 300,000 or 400,000. So, it is what it is. I mean, he showed flashes of brilliance, didn't he? The goal against Celtic, goal against Hibs. I think he scored quite early on. He was terrific. And his I think the first time I seen him was against West Ham, friendly at Ibrox, under Gio, and we were magnificent that night. And that was it, really. Apparently, he played 70 games for us. I struggle to believe that. And so Rabbi Matondo has departed. He was one that would have left in the summer. He wasn't getting another contract. And he's another that we just kind of clear away. There is a few more, but Rangers done a lot of good work, I think, in January to get rid of them. But what we have to do is if we're paying somebody 30 grand a week in wages or whatever Rabbi was on, and we know it was a high amount, we have to make sure we're getting value for money. Unfortunately, Rabbi's injury meant that he wasn't value for money. Certainly will say about Rabbi Matondo, having met him, he's an extremely nice lad. So wish him all the best. Kenny, Rangers review, spoke about it yesterday. Rangers are off to Spain after the Falkirk game. We have a break of another week. That'll be fabulous for us, trying to find stuff to talk about. And we're off to Spain for a break as such to head into the break fixtures, I suppose you would say, the split fixtures, and revitalised after Spain. Do you think this is a good idea to head over there? At least it's not Dubai, because everything went to shit as soon as we went to Dubai under Gerrard, didn't it? All the time.
Yeah, Dubai's not a great idea. I don't mind this, right? I know a lot of folk, certainly online, have not taken kindly to this. For me personally, I actually don't mind it. I think it's an opportunity for Danny Rule to go there and kind of focus the minds of the players, and perhaps, excuse me, tweak one or two little things that he might want to. It'll give them the opportunity perhaps to do double sessions and stuff like that, where they can work on the formation, on the way they want to play in the remaining 5 games that are going to be left. I think it is, isn't it? So for me, I don't mind it, but again, as I say, I have seen a huge amount of people online kind of criticise this, but I think a lot of it is to do with the scar tissue that we have from those Dubai trips, Stevie, where we've come back and been dog meat is the best way to describe it. Particularly I can't remember what season it was, but it was one season in particular we come back, we were absolutely horrific. And it was just a week full of RTV videos of them all having a good time effectively and come back and they were rotten. So that's where the scar tissue is coming from, I would imagine. But personally, I think Danny Rule's not had that pre-season, so if he can get a couple of things that he's maybe not been able to get across properly due to the fact that it's been so hectic over the period since he got here, then fair play. But the proof will definitely be in the pudding, Stevie. If they come back and they're not up to it, people are going to criticise this, aren't they?
Yeah. Look, I mean, 2 wins is vital, isn't it? We've got to beat United on Saturday, which we'll talk about. Then you've got to go and beat Falkirk, which, people are making out. The more people talk about this Falkirk fixture, the more it's like we're going to the Bernabeu to play Real Madrid. The way people are going on about it is Falkirk. They're a good side, but it's Falkirk. And, treat it properly, treat them with respect, which they absolutely deserve after a good season, but go and win the game. If you're wanting to win leagues, we shouldn't be gibbering on about worrying about going to Falkirk as if it's a massive game. Every game is big, but let's go and get it won. This is Rangers. We've got titles to chase. So get those 2 games won, go at the split, have a good break, get some real hard, intense training, and then we can regroup and go into this 5 last games and just go for it, because we've got 7 games to win the league. And why are we not positive about this as a support? Why are we not absolutely buzzing for Saturday? I know that when I think about Dundee United at home on Saturday, I'm up for it. I want it to be like Hearts. I want it big attendance. I want a big atmosphere, and I want Rangers to not let us down, obviously. So that attitude they had against Hearts, even though Hearts did take the lead twice, I think that we need that kind of attitude and that kind of response going into Saturday. So I don't mind it, Kenny. I'm quite happy with it. Hopefully the international break now being over, everybody comes back and fit and ready to go. Couple of things from it. Manny Fernandez scoring from Nigeria in a 2-2 draw. Great for him. Well done to him. He's just a total goal machine everywhere. I think he deserves, the recognition. And for us, we've now got international centre back Manny Fernandez. So if you're coming to sign him, that puts a few more pennies on that asking fee for me.
Yeah, well, you would certainly hope so. I seen his goal there literally about an hour ago. That was the first I'd seen it. And he's at the back post and takes it very well. Just strokes it past the keeper in the far corner from about 6 yards out. Really tidy little finish, and nothing more than what we've come to expect from Big Manny Fernandez. He's, you look at his journey since he got here, and you look at the Peterborough fans mocking this signing, but they're not mocking it at the moment. And I know they've got a sell-on fee, so if he does happen to go this summer, Stevie, then they'll get a pretty penny. But this is down to our recruitment in the summer. I've got to say, we've criticised it often enough over the course of this season, Stevie, but you've got to give them credit for whoever it was that identified Manny Fernandez at Peterborough, who, if I remember right, finished 17th in League One last year or something like that. I mean, they'd lost 60-odd goals. So for someone to actually pinpoint that particular player in that particular league and to watch his growth over the course of the season, where he couldn't get into the team for the first couple of months, and then bit by bit he was in and out. Now he's a mainstay. People already talking about him as a potential captain next season, and he's now an international player. And you just look at it and you do the little bit of footage. Put it this way: the little bit of footage that I did see, he was sitting dictating to other players in that Nigeria team. So he's walked in there, and he's got that about him. So. I'm absolutely delighted for the boy as a person. He must be pinching himself at times when he looks from literally last April to this April and look where he's came to and his journey. So yeah, fair play. And as I say, we are going to have a difficult decision to make in the summer about this boy, because going by the rumours, and I will just call them rumours, the rumours about some of the clubs that are genuinely want to be kept informed about his availability in the summer. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking at mega money if he goes, Stevie, and genuine mega money. And I don't particularly want to go to see him go, but we might struggle to keep him. That's just the nature of being a Scottish football club at this moment in time. But delighted for the kid. That's all I can say.
Listen, if teams want him, then it's 20 million before I even answer the phone. It's that simple. And if we win the league and it's Champions League guaranteed, which at the moment, folks, in this very weird season, it's looking like if Rangers win the league, we could actually manage to go straight into the Champions League, given everything else. If that's Manny Fernandez, Champions League and international player, then it's more than that as well. So, listen, he's doing great. I think it's brilliant for us, actually, that we have assets in our team who deserve to be assets. I think that Tour Romans is going to be one that goes on for us. I think that Nasser Giga next to him is a real asset. That I'm going to talk about him in a wee bit, because I think that he's one again that we should possibly be looking at. Manny Fernandez is definitely an asset, and Nico Raskin an asset as well. Chukwani is going to be one that, if he continues, will naturally slot into Nico's path. Can we keep Mikey Moore? Definite asset. And Chermiti is going to go for some reason for 20 odd million. And Gassama's going to go for big money as well. And it's all, we've got assets all over our team, which is nice. And everybody thinks that's wonderful, but I want assets that produce winning moments for Rangers. I want trophies. And it all comes down this week, Kenny, to Saturday, Dundee United. It's not going to be an easy game. Look, we talked about it a wee bit on Monday. They've had 2 victories over Celtic at Tannadice, which we thoroughly enjoyed, and they've drawn with us twice, 2 each. They are not an easy team to beat. Jim Goodwin will certainly be coming here to put a dent in Rangers' title hopes. But it's all about Rangers' attitude for me. Can't afford to sit back. We can't afford to rest on our laurels. We can't afford to just wait for it to happen. We need to go and set the pace, set the intensity. We actually need a first half like we had against Celtic. We need a performance in the cup game like we had against Celtic. Attacking wise, we just didn't go in that day. We need a performance like Hearts. We've been strong at Ibrox, actually. Aberdeen were pretty much slapped about as well. And not even our best performance, but still gubbed them quite easily, which was thoroughly enjoyable. We need that again on Saturday. And the more it goes and the more these results happen, the more we'll get confident. But Saturday, not only is it big for that reason, but it's also big for... oh, excuse me, I do beg your pardon, everyone. Don't laugh, Kenny, I could have died. But it's important because Rangers could go top of the league. And that's a big thing. Even if it's only for 18 hours or so, the pressure then suddenly goes on the other two. And they've not been great. And this is a real opportunity for Rangers just to say, well, come and catch us then.
The last time we had this opportunity, Steve, I can't remember who we played, but I know that Hearts and Celtic played on the Sunday and they drew and they both dropped points and we benefited from it. It's quite similar to this, where we haven't had huge amount, loads of opportunities to actually put pressure on the other two because we've been playing on a Sunday so often. It's massive. If we can turn around, if you, as I said on Monday night, right, if you look at Hearts, they've been top of that league since September, and if they literally go to bed on Saturday night and wake up on Sunday morning and they know they're not top of that league, then the pressure is on them to turn around and go and get a result against Livingston. Now, I would expect them to get a result against Livingston, but Celtic are away at Dundee. That's not going to be an easy game. So it's on us, and I'm with you on this. I think if we can get the first half against Hearts, against Celtic, or a performance like we did against Hearts, or even the Aberdeen performance, I think we'll blow them away, actually. And that's not being disrespectful. I just think that we have come on leaps and bounds since the last time we played Dundee United. And we've struggled with them. If you remember right, the game at Ibrox, it was Tello Asgard scored an absolute beauty. One of the best goals this season, actually. I think that was to get us a draw, wasn't it? And
no, that was Stevie Smith's game. So we were 1-0 up at half-time. We were cheered off at half-time because it was 1-0 going on 4. Very quickly went 2-0 down. Tab then equalised. I think it was a penalty with 5 minutes left, and it was 2 each. Game at Tannadice was Macoma equalised after United went ahead. Then United went 2-1 up, and we equalised in the 96th minute by Rami with a penalty as well. And I think it was Max Aarons that got kind of sliced down. So both times we've needed later equalisers against United. So it shows you it's not going to be. And they've got that winger who I quite like, the number 11, who scored against us at Tannadice and scored against the wee team a couple of weekends ago. So he's a good player. They've got a kind of hard working side. I don't think much of their centre back or their goalie in terms of pace wise, and their goalie's a bit ropey, but I think they're a decent enough side, Kenny. So there's plenty there, plenty of evidence for us that we can't turn up expecting it to happen. Need to go and make it happen.
We do, and as I say, it's 2 draws we've got against them this season. So, we can't take anything for granted at all, particularly in a season like this where our form's been up and down, but so's everybody else in the leagues. And at times, you're watching games and you're just kind of bamboozled about what's going on. So, but as I say, for me, more than anything, I think we're a slightly different animal over the last couple of months, Stevie, where we have managed to impose our game very, very quickly on our opponents. It's doing that and keeping that dominance for 90 minutes. That's been our issue at times, but I'm really excited about Saturday because I genuinely do feel that as a Rangers supporter, if we go to bed, as I say, on Saturday night and you see your team at the top of the league, you're going to feel good about this, Stevie. All of a sudden, we are going to feel really good about it, regardless to the opportunity that Hearts are going to have the next day. It's that pressure that we have been. What was the way Danny Rowe put it? We want to hunt. Well, all of a sudden, the hunt will not be over as such, but the hunt will have changed dynamics. Put it that way. That's what I would say. And I'm genuinely looking forward to Saturday because I do feel that it is just such a massive, massive opportunity for us to go and make that statement and get that win. That it would be really, really important, I feel, for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And good news, Kenny, we made it to 20 minutes. Let's get into some questions now from our viewers. Bazinga Bear asks, if Tav goes at the end of the season, who are you touting for captain? Kenny, I'll ask you, and then I'll tell everybody what they already expect me to answer with.
This is dependent on who's going to be here next season, obviously, but my gut feeling almost instantly when seeing the question would be if Nico Raskin's going to be here next season, it would be Nico Raskin for me because I don't particularly like a goalkeeper being captain for a start. And if Jack Butland was here, he might be the natural progression in that. I always felt that John Souttar could be a Rangers captain. I don't feel that responsibility, the burden that he carries with being a ball carrier or being a captain, I think sometimes takes away something from his game. Where I watched him last night for Scotland, and he had a terrific game for Scotland last night. And as I say, I think there's less responsibility on him. Whereas with us, he tends to be, when he's playing, he has got a responsibility. So Manny Fernandez, if he was here, would be an option, I suppose. But no, for me, it's I'll go with my gut feeling. Then it would be Nico Raskin.
Interesting, because Nico's also exactly who I would give it to, along with a new contract, which hopefully that's close to doing. Here's the other thing. We have options now, actually. And I think that Tour Romans is a ready-made assistant captain in there. I think that Dujon Sterling is a captain material, unfortunately, made like a rich tea biscuit. So he would need to sort that out. Manny Fernandez, like you said, has come on. I wouldn't give it to him just yet, but it sometimes can be the making of players, as we've seen. There's actually options around our team now, which is a nice thing. Lacks a wee bit of experience when it comes to middle to front, I think, to look at giving it to anybody. I would ideally, like, would you have a number 10 as your captain? We've seen really successful 10s in the past in football be captains, but for us, you know, there lacks a wee bit. Like, I wouldn't be giving it to Chermiti or anything like that because they're too young. So you have 2 or 3 options. So, listen, I would like to see Rangers have loads of options, but I would also like to see James Tavernier leave as a winning captain this summer, because he really, really deserves it. And it's just the ideal way for him to go, lifting the SPFL title. I think that's a perfect scenario for James Tavernier as captain of Rangers, to be quite honest with you. Would you take a risk on Barney Stewart this summer? Looks a player, ask Kyle Champion. Yes, is the answer, Kyle. I think, again, we're going to have movement up top. I would be surprised if Bojan Majowski stays at Rangers. I would be surprised if Yusuf Chermiti stays at Rangers. So there could be another 2 or 3 to go and get up front. Barney Stewart, for me, looks raw. He looks exciting. Rangers need to keep looking at players like they have done. They've been looking at Boy, obviously, at Dundee at the back. They need to keep looking at players in Scotland. Barney Stewart, one for me that has got numbers. I'm not overly, what's the right phrase here? I'm not overly clued up on him. But from what I've seen, he certainly looks all right, Kenny.
Anything I've seen of him, he looks a pretty tidy player. Seems to have an eye for goal. That's the one thing that you can tell. I haven't seen enough of him. A little bit like yourself, Stevie. I haven't seen huge amounts of the kid, but is it John McGlynn who has turned around and said that he took one look at him, didn't he, and just went, "Oh yeah, he'll do for me." When he was playing university football, university football, I believe it was, and he just took one look at him, and I think he's been through the divisions with Falkirk. So, you know, it's just one of these things, Stevie, that I look at, and I've always felt that there's players in our league that would do a fine job for us, particularly squad players, and it's something that I've found over the last 20 years. I just can't really understand why we haven't done it. When you look at even somebody as experienced and as wily and as in, you know, a football intelligence like Dick Advocat, he made a point of doing it, of bringing players in from our league. He actually made a point of doing that and feel, you know, and saying that he felt that it was vital that they knew the league, they knew the club, they knew the environment they were coming into. So I have no issue with anybody in Scotland, you know, being scouted by our scouting staff effectively. I think there's loads of players out there that could do a job for us, Stevie. And I mean, genuinely, there's loads of them that are more than capable of taking the step up and playing for us. And we only need to just look through history, our past, and even our fairly recent past, if you like, to know that there's guys in our league that will always be able to do a job.
I'll tell you who I want. I really want Elliot Watt from Motherwell, midfielder. I think he's a cracker. Unlike Barney Stewart, I am kind of clued up on him. He looks a player to me. People can share their thoughts on that one, but he looks like one for me. I would be really interested. This is a question that I seen earlier on that I do like. Johnson asks, I do find it funny we value Manny at 20 plus, but we bulk at 8 million for Jiga. He's younger than Manny, better recovery pace, complements Manny so well. Agreed. Okay, so here's what I wrote about Manny Fernandez last week in the Rangers Review. I also said it on the podcast recently. I would pay 8 million for Manny Fernandez. Sorry for Nasa Jiga. I think his recovery pace is fantastic. I think he's really settled in. And do you know what I like about both Nasser and Manny? Both of them have recovered from hellish moments at Rangers, like fucking stick-on mistakes. I mean, Big Nasser even pulled off wearing like his joggy bottoms because he was going out to the club and then after the game, and he still played really well. And I'm with you, Johnson. I would pay 8 million, right? But here's the thing: we all know that our end of the season, this 7 games could decide a hell of a lot. If we get into the Champions League, 8 million for Nasa Jiga is absolutely nothing, and we pay it because of his pace alone. And I'm with you. I think, and I did say when we were talking about assets, I think Nasa Jiga will become an asset. I think if you pay 8 million for Nasa Jiga, you double that if he continues his growth level, which we've seen at Rangers, Kenny. But we also know that these 7 games, like, our opinion of players and how well they're doing, and it changes like that, doesn't it? So anything could happen with him. But Nasa Jiga is certainly one that I think should be right up there with top priority if he continues in this 7 games, to have that growth level and rise in performance.
Yeah, I was talking to my son about Nasa Jiga today, and the way I picked him up from his work and over in the West End, we were talking away about Ranger stuff in general. And he said that, would you sign Nasa Jiga? And I said, yes. And I said, but a lot of that might depend on what division Wolves are playing. And he made a decent point to me where he turned and said, see, if you're Wolves and you get relegated, you don't want a young foreign player playing in a championship, because it's just one of those weird leagues that you kind of tend to want a core or a base of English players in that league, because they know that division. So I always felt that would make it more difficult for us if they got relegated to try and sign him, because I thought he'd been natural to play in that league. And it made me think, he's actually got a point when you look at the majority of the championship teams, that their core is English. So the price isn't an overly a major concern for me. I'll put it that way. However, £8 million for a 22-year-old doesn't sound that bad to me when you stop and you think about it, with the potential that he has. He has already played Champions League football, Stevie. He's got bags of experience for such a young lad. And for me, if depending on exactly what it is that Wolves would be looking for, I actually would look at that and say that if you're looking Rangers for next season, if you could get Manny Fernandez to stay, you've got Jack Butler there, you've got Manny Fernandez and Jiga there, John Suter in behind them, you've got Chokwani there, you've got two Roman, you've got Chermiti, you've got Nadiri. There is a base there already, Stevie, that knows this football club. So yeah, I don't really mind what we would pay for him. I actually don't think it's that big a deal. That 8 million sounds a lot of money for us, but in the reality, it just isn't anymore.
Kenny, does Mikey Moore remind you of a young Ian Durrant?
No, I don't mean to be rude, but no. I know what he means, but I actually think that, without being disrespectful to Mikey Moore here, no, Ian Durrant's the best young player I've ever seen in my life by a country mile. When he was 17, 18 years of age. Just a sensational player. in a different position, slightly different position as well. If you were to sit and play Mikey Moore, I don't know where I get that from. Mikey Moore in a number 10, say we get him for next season, and you play him week in, week out in the 10, then yeah, I see what he means, but I don't want to be too disrespectful to young Mikey Moore there, but no, Ian Durrant was as special a special player as you're ever going to see.
Yeah, we love Ian Durrant on this channel. We really, really do. Blue Nose John asked Stevie, saw a rumour yesterday we've already signed 3 players on pre-contracts. Can you confirm or deny this? No, I can't confirm or deny it, mate, but happy to answer the question. Stevie, who would you start up top on Saturday? From Paul. Yusuf Chermiti, as much as he does my tits in, excuse the French, because I think he's good and I really like him. At times he just does my head in because he fucking wanders about looking at the sky. He's out left, he's out right. Just go, Yusuf, go and be in the box. Remember that overhead kick thing you did against that wee team? Like, go and do that. Go and do that. Go and be that guy. Go and remember your hat trick against Hearts. Go and do that. But he doesn't. He's fucking out wandering about looking at the government stand and all that sort of stuff. But he starts, and I would play him with Ryan Nadiri, and I'd probably play Nadiri deeper and in the 10 and play Chermiti up front. And just get Chermiti just to stay. Be a 9, Yusuf. Be a 9, Kenny.
Yeah, that would be nice if he could be a 9, as you say, but it's not really his game, is it? I'm afraid to say it. And who I would start would be Chermiti and Nadiri, absolutely. And I think that's exactly the way Danny Rule will go. I know Chermiti came off after about 70 minutes last night, so hopefully not too much energy expended. But I think they beat Scotland under 21s 3-0 last night. So he didn't score or anything like that, but I know he apparently played quite well. So that's who I would go for. Somebody else in the comments has actually just said there about Mikey Moore, Stevie. They said Mikey Moore will go farther in the game than Ian Durrant, and I totally agree with that. Actually, I do, but that's only because Ian Durrant only had one knee. So
Ian Durrant, before injury, was destined for the very, very, very top, and it absolutely delights me that Ian Durrant returned from the most horrendous injury to play such a massive part of his goals in the Champions League in that run where Rangers came so close to the first ever Champions League final in '92. That goal in Marseille, etc. Ian Durrant is the most unbelievable character. So yeah, quite likes us, Kenny, doesn't he? Remember what he referred to us as?
He called us right said Fred, mate, and it was the way he said it, where he said, "Fuck's sake, I thought I just bumped into right said Fred there," and I thought, who does he think he is?
It's Ian Durrant, isn't he?
That's exactly then I realised it's Ian Durrant. Just let him say what he wants.
Who would be your first signing in the summer? Asked Craig Gallagher. I don't know. There's a few people in Scotland that I like. I like, as I said earlier, I like Luke Graham. You know, I'm not. See, because I've not played Football Manager in the last couple of years, I don't know who the latest wonder kids are. So my knowledge is, and I just prefer to leave it to somebody else to make that decision. I would really like Rangers to get a midfielder that's different from the ones that we have. That would be really nice. A proper 6. Get a 10 that works. Get a striker who just hangs about and plays the penalty spot, not one that wants to drop deep like all the other ones that we have. I don't know, more positions for me. Get a right winger. That's good. Get a right back. Get a centre back. There's lots. Did you have any that you would go and be your first signing in the summer?
For me personally, Stevie, yeah, I think we're going to need a right back. I don't think there's any doubt in that. Depending on what happens with the centre halves, with Giga and Cornelius obviously being loan signings, we'll need cover at left back as well. But the number one priority for me in this football team would be a ball carrier, a proper box-to-box midfielder or a real number 8. And dare I say it, somebody like Paul Gascoigne, who isn't going to come cheap, but that type of player is I think it's tailor-made for this team, actually. I think if we can get that, we don't have enough ball carriers. We don't have enough players that can play that killer ball, that ball through the eye of a needle. So if you can get one player that could do that, that would be ideal. But I think you'd need two. And I do have a funny feeling that there'll be a little bit of a restructure in the midfield come the summer. I think that's. I think you've agreed with me in this, or I've agreed with you in this. I beg your pardon. That our midfielders are all very, very similar. So there'll be a couple of them out and another couple in, I would imagine, Stevie, just to get that that chemistry or that blend or that balance that we're looking for, if you know what I mean.
How much realistically would it cost for Billy Gilmore? 20. Serie A winner with Napoli. I don't think you're getting Billy for anything less between kind of 18 to 20 million, and it'll not happen yet. So, not for me. I'd absolutely love it. Of course, I would love it if Billy came back, but I think Billy is doing amazingly well over in Napoli. I had a great visit to see him recently, and he's enjoying it thoroughly, and he's got a World Cup to concentrate on, so I don't think Billy will be thinking about anything other than, a strong end to the season with Napoli and a good World Cup, which is all we really want for him. How much would you sell Yusuf Chermiti for, and can we get someone better for less? Kenny?
How much would I sell Yusuf Chermiti for? We paid 8 million, rising to 10, didn't we? So minimum. And people might not believe this, but going by the stats and the data on this kid, the minimum you'd be looking at is 15, 20 million quid. Because the data tells you that he is a highly sought after striker, put it that way. And yeah, I've listen. This boy is that enigma we've all talked about over and over and over again. Where you look at him at times and you feel genuinely that he looks as if he's never seen a football sometimes, or he doesn't look interested, or whatever. And then he does things like he did against Celtic, where it's one of the best goals you're ever likely to see. He is capable of the absolute sublime and the ridiculous. So it's a difficult one to turn around and put an exact figure on it. But if I'm being blunt, I would be, if I'm the Rangers board, so to speak, and offers are coming in, I would be looking at getting 20 million quid for him.
We're going to get 20 million for Chermiti. It's quite funny. We could do one blasting his way to a few more goals in the title before the end of the season. We're going to get big money for him just because I think Rangers have already turned down that big money bid in January. And I think there's going to be interest there. As Kenny said, it's all about stats. He's a big guy. It's all about other things other than actual performance. I just think Yusuf, what's he scored? 9 goals, I think. And he's got a double, and a hat trick. So he doesn't get odd goals. He doesn't get enough for me. Can you get somebody better for less than 20 million? Well, you could spend 10 on somebody, couldn't you, Matthew? That would be the thing. Could you get somebody better? I don't know. As I said, I'm not a massive fan of Yusuf Chermiti. He's very frustrating because I think he is our player, but he's had a better turn of the year, but I just think he should be doing so much more. I think he's played something like 34 games and not scored in 26 or 27 of them. That for a striker at Rangers is not good enough. So, and I'm spoiled. I grew up with Haitley, McCoist, Miller, Boyd. I grew up with sensational strikers, Purcell, Jelavic. So I don't think Yusuf Chermiti is irreplaceable. Jermaine Defoe, Alfredo Morelos, who was absolutely spectacular on his game. I think Yusuf Chermiti reminds me a wee bit of Cedric Hitton at times in his style and stuff like that. So we'll see. Do you think Tav will get a year extension? Yes. Just to annoy everybody, I do think Tav will get a year extension. I think the idea will be that he dovetails with Dujon Sterling. Do I think he'll get a year extension? Yes. Do I think he should get one? No. Just leave as champion Tav. That's the outcome of the summer. Paul asked Kenny, do you think Ant-Man or Bayrami will feature in the remaining 7 games?
Yes, I do. I think they'll both feature. Listen, Danny Rowell's been saying this for a long, long time, that he's going to need every single player. And there's been times when Bayrami's been completely out of the picture, and all of a sudden he comes in and he'll play, he'll get minutes. I like Bayrami as a player up to a point. I just don't feel that he's got that. I was going to say commitment. That's not really the right word. He's not got that dig that you need sometimes. That you need to see in a Rangers player sometimes to get you out that hole where it's one each or whatever. You need somebody to take the game by the scruff of the neck. And I don't really think he's got that in him. Oliver Ant-Man again played for Finland and played in the middle of the middle of the park for them or something like that, I believe. Oliver Ant-Man's been one of those players that you just look at him at times over the course of the season, and again, he's just been so inconsistent. But when he's good, he's very, very good. And I would expect, particularly in the right. Listen, we've got an issue on the right-hand side where we've got Oliver Ant-Man, Jady Gassama, and Andrea Skov-Olsen that can play there, and none of them have really managed to light it up at all, have they, on the right-hand side? So it's very difficult to turn around and suggest that nobody's going to get minutes, because Bayrami could play out there as well. Bayrami could play out on the left as well. Bayrami could play in the 10. So yes, I do expect them to get minutes. How many minutes, I'm not quite sure. It will depend on the performances, because I don't believe that either of them will be first picks, put it that way.
Have you made up your mind on Skov-Olsen yet? Kenny?
He's a yes for me, not based on what we've seen so far, but I'm just going on the fact that having seen enough of him over the last few years, and being ultra excited any time over the last 3 or 4 years that we've been linked with him. I think we were first linked with him under Gio, weren't we? So for me, it's just one of them that if it's £9 million, it's an awful lot of money, but I think it's probably, in the long run, it would be money well spent. That's what I would say. But I can understand why people would not be for this at all.
I really want Skov-Olsen to succeed. Have I seen enough? Absolutely not a chance. Very minimal flashes. So have I made up my mind? No. But everybody's got a chance. 7 games to win. 7 games to win the title. So, you know, it's all about what sort of hunger does Skov-Olsen have? Because he said he wanted to stay here when he came. That was his dream outcome. He wanted to stay at Rangers. So he needs to show it. But listen, 7 games to go in this league. Bojan Majovski could become a hero. Yusuf Chermiti could become a hero. Ryan Nadiri could become a hero. Skov-Olsen, it's all there for these guys. Who wants it the most? Who wants that hunger? Who wants that? Who has the desire to be an absolute hero at Rangers, Kenny? Because look, put Skov-Olsen to the side. This is all there for this whole squad. You want to succeed at Rangers. You want to write your name in Rangers folklore. You want to be that hero, that legend. 7 games to do it. It's like a mini league now.
Yeah, it is. And listen, we do have players in our team that are prepared to take the game by the scruff of the neck. All you need to do at this moment in time is look at Manny Fernandez. James Tavernier is capable of doing that. Tor Robbins is very prominent. Nico Raskin will do that for you. Chuck Wani will do that for you. Mikey Moore will do that for you. However, I totally agree with you. This on the likes of Scott Olsen. He has to give us more. He has to be braver on the ball. He has to. And I've said this. I don't want to go down this path again because I've said it a couple of times on here, but I am going to kind of reiterate the point that I genuinely do feel that any of we've got 3 right backs there that can play, and I genuinely don't believe any of them particularly suit what Scott Olsen's natural game is. So I think he's playing slightly within himself because he's trying to accommodate different types of right backs, and I think what he wants to see is somebody go down past him, overlapping, not coming inside him so much. And that's just one of these kind of things that if you look at James Tavernier, that's what he wants to do. Dujon Sterling doesn't particularly want to get down to the byline, and Max Aarons isn't that type of right back at all. So I think that's part of it. But for me, it's just one of these 7 games left, and you do look at it and say that it's time for a few of these young boys to become men. And I think that you can see them growing, you can see them building their confidence, and I actually am quite confident that that these kids will stand up to what they're about to face, which is nice, because if you'd asked me that in September, I would have just called you a maniac and just wouldn't have believed you, because the growth in a lot of these players and the growth in this team has been fantastic. And it bodes well for the future, regardless to what happens this season, Stevie. We're in a good place for the start of next season, with money to invest in the first team squad and improve it yet again.
Ross asks, I really miss Ross. Ross used to sit next to me. Ross introduced me to custard creams that were covered in chocolate from Marks and Spencer's. Ross changed my life in ways that can only be described as a positive. Miss you, mate. Miss your biscuits that you used to bring. Anyway, he asks, Rangers' current youth prospects, Kyle Glasgow, Alexander Smith, Aidan McCallan, for example. Bright futures ahead, just need to find a way to get them into the first team. Now, Ross, you answer your own question, my man. Yeah, I mean, it is bright future for all of them. Kyle Glasgow's the one that's pulling up the trees, isn't he? Aidan McCallan trained with the first team quite a lot. Barry Ferguson had him in there. Alex Smith is one that's been talked about at that level as well. But the problem is, at that level, it's making the breakthrough up into the next one can be really difficult. How long do we talk about John Fleck for as being this ultimate kid? So, you know, and John had a very fine career. That's not a slight of him, but it's just at that time, you know, at that age, anything can happen, Kenny.
Yeah, and listen, I'm going to plead ignorance a little bit here. Kyle Glasgow, I do know of, and the potential in that kid seems to be massive. It's the same for any young kid for me. It's going to be incredibly difficult for any boy at Rangers to make his way through the ranks at Rangers because of the setup that we have. I just don't agree with it. I've said it many, many times on here. I feel that the youth system that we have doesn't work properly, and I think over time, I'm sure that the new owners will actually correct this and find the proper potential pathway for young kids to prosper. And I've said again, I'll say this forevermore. Our job as a football club, we have a responsibility to these young kids to make sure that they prosper and have a career in the game, whether that's with Rangers or not. We should be, as a club our size, we should be educating these kids to a degree where they can go and play professional football, at least at any kind of level that might not be the level that we are, but they should be able to go and play at a good Championship club or a Premier League club or go and play League One Championship in England, they should be capable of doing this. And that's our responsibility as a football club, Stevie. And I do feel that we let ourselves down with it. But the potential in these kids, without being disrespectful to anybody here, I've heard this for 40 years now, Stevie, 35, 40 years, that the potential in this kid at Rangers is massive. And we very, very, very rarely see that come to fruition for ourselves. So, brilliant question from Ross. He's a very articulate and cracking podcaster, is Ross. And I didn't get to try those custard creams, but I might go to Marks and buy them. But because I do like a custard cream, and if they've got chocolate on them, then wow. But no, seriously, it is one of those things. I don't want to go down this. I mean, we've managed to get 50 minutes out of this, mate, and I'm not going to waste another 10 minutes ranting at Rangers at youth level, but I don't like it, and I haven't liked it for a number of years. I think we don't do it right.
Yes, 50 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Let's...
Stevie, I've got a delivery. Give me 1 wee second, buddy.
Fucking Avon. Every Wednesday, Kenny gets Avon. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this midweek. Thousands of people watching. 2 follically challenged males talk about the club they love and try and give you a show when there's not much to talk about. So we really hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody in the comments, everybody that likes and subscribe. If you haven't, please do so. That really helps us. Oh, there he's back.
It's fucking heavy, mate. Gee whiz, I don't know what it was.
I'm going to be mature and not respond. Kenny, thank you very, very much for coming on, as per usual. A wee word for our missing compadre, Mr. Chris Bett. Chris is very unwell, actually, ladies and gentlemen. He has been in hospital, and it's actually his birthday today. So, Chris, we wish you a very happy birthday and all the best. We'll hopefully have Chris back on soon. Yeah, he's not been very well at all, Kenny.
No, he's not. However, I did wish him a happy birthday this morning, and he's doing okay, as well as you could expect. He is going through a tough time, and I don't envy him at all. I've got to say, it's a tough period for him. But listen, he's a big brave soldier, and he'll pull through. And no doubt you'll see him back at work next week. But
I actually, so at work today, we had a wee birthday lunch for him, and the boss got us in stuff and all that. And honest to God, it's the best birthday party I've ever been to. So I phoned him and told him on the way home, and he was like, "What the fuck?" Like I wasn't even there, and it genuinely was. We had chicken samosas. It was magic, honestly. And it was great. So I'm not sure he was overly happy at the news, but I had a great time at his birthday party.
It's a wee shame that, and you have a birthday party for him and he's not even there. How ironic. Listen, that's them the breaks, isn't it? That's just the way it works. But no, seriously, he's in our thoughts because he is going through a seriously tough time. And yeah, I don't know what is in that box, Stevie. That just came to my door, but Jesus, it was heavy. And I've had a hard day. I was trying to fix wash machines and everything. And honestly, it's at times like this. I did physical shit for about 5 hours today, and I realised how unfit and how old I'm getting. It's my birthday next week, so don't you forget that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to forget that, mate. I'm inviting you to the Rangers Review live show on Friday night, courtesy of me. So that's your birthday present from me.
Is that's just you telling us saying, I'll put you on the guest list, is it?
Yeah, but I have to text Johnny. Right, I have to text Johnny and then ask him to do it for me, and then wait for him to reply. So, like, it's not free as such. You know what I mean? I had to go to the effort to actually get you put on the guest list, mate.
That's right. Okay. I'll remember that when it's your birthday.
Well, you did remember it last year when it was my birthday, so
I did remember your birthday, aye.
yeah. Right, anyway, let's go. Kenny needs to go and check what's been delivered from Avon. Huge thanks to our sponsors, Rhino Express, Cliveview Fire Protection and Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning, Candid, and rydc.co.uk. Back Friday night, I think, and then live in the gantry on Saturday. It's myself and Amrit if Rangers go top of the league. Jesus, man, I don't know what's going to happen to him. We beat Queen of the South 8-0, and he ripped his jacket, and I don't know what will happen if we go top of the league with Amrit. But come and look at us anyway. And then Sunday night we're live as well, and then back to the normal stuff next week. Kenny, you going to say something?
Yeah, I've just seen one of the comments that made me laugh. That parcel that's just came, Kelso's just turned and said it's Matondo, Kenny. Which did make me laugh.
At least something does. Right, folks, have a good rest of the week. Please like and subscribe. If you want to become a member, just click on the wee thing up there in the top corner. What side is it? It's over there somewhere. That's it, up there. You can scan that in. Thank you very, very much, everybody. And yeah, really appreciate all your support, and good luck to the team on Saturday. We'll be back Friday night though, so we'll talk more about it then. So take care, have a good one, and see you all again soon. Bye.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Cliveview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.